What's happening, guys? Cooper Carter here for G66, and on this week's Fractal Friday, I'm going to be giving you a crash course in auto-engage expression pedals, which are usually used for wah-wahs, but could be used for other effects as well. I'm also going to be clearing up the differences between the 6 different auto-engage settings that you're going to find in your Fractal unit. If you were to poll all of the guitarists on the planet and ask them what their favorite effects pedal is, or what the most fun effect pedal is to play through, I'm betting that a sizable percentage, if not a majority, would say the wah-wah pedal. Now that's if you don't count overdrive or distortion and probably reverb, which I don't really count as effects because they're part of the amp, they're part of the space. The wah-wah pedal is out and out an effects pedal, and it's one of the greatest because it has such a unique signature sound. It's not only the sound though. When you use a wah pedal, there's a physical interaction between you and the effect. It's not a set it and forget it effect like the chorus might be, or a phaser. When you're using a wah, you're actually playing the wah pedal as much as you're playing guitar. And for those of you who play, you know that feeling. And for those of you who watch guitarists play, you know that sometimes they involve far more than just their foot in the wah pedal experience. It leads to some faces, and the combination of the sound and that really unique physical interaction, I think, explains why you hear the wah pedal in so many different genres of music, and it has been a staple of music through so many different eras and decades. Of course, given its popularity, the wah pedal is heavily and well represented in all Fractal units, with several different classic models to choose between. And it's also very easy to set up an external expression pedal to control the wah within your Fractal unit. So this week's Fractal Friday comes courtesy of one of my remote clients who was having a bit of trouble this week getting his EV1 expression pedal from Fractal Audio to interact exactly the way he wanted it to with the wah pedal block in the Axe 3. And I suppose this is a good time to mention, I am now offering, due to popular demand, some limited one-on-one slots each month for Zoom tutoring and consultation on Fractal units. And if you are interested in booking one of those hours, you can do so at classes.coopercarter.com. While you're there, if you haven't already, you can enroll in the complete Axe 3, FM9, and FM3 masterclasses. If you're coming from the analog world, you likely have always used a wah pedal that you turn on and off with a switch that's underneath the toe part of the tread itself. Unless, of course, you've used an optical wah, like for example, the Bad Horsey, which is an absolute classic and as such is included as one of the preset wah types in the Fractal units. It's there alongside a who's who of amazing wah pedals, all of which can be controlled by your expression pedal. This is actually a Mission Engineering Aero expression pedal, which is made for use with modelers like the Axe 3. It has 2 output jacks, one that controls the throw of the tread and another that controls the on-off state via the switch. Now, the downside to this pedal is only that you have to use 2 different expression pedal jacks, but this is a phenomenal pedal, and maybe setting this up will be a video for another Fractal Friday. But for the moment, let's turn to this guy, the Fractal Audio Systems EV1. Now, it is an awesome pedal. It is absolutely solid as a rock. It's got a wonderful, long, really smooth throw, and it has both an expression pedal jack and analog volume pedal jacks. So you can use it on an audio path signal as a volume pedal or a digital expression pedal. There is also an EV2 available from Fractal, which is the little sibling of the EV1 and is quite compact if pedalboard real estate is a concern. Personally, I prefer the larger EV1, but that's mainly because I just have really big feet. Both pedals pretty much have it all. What they do not have, though, is a toe switch underneath the pedal itself. So let's talk about how to set up this pedal to actually use it as a wah-wah or as an expression pedal for another effect that you'd want to switch on or off. So first things first, I'm going to connect the expression pedal jack of my EV1 to the pedal 1 jack of my FC12 with a TRS or tip ring sleeve cable. For those of you not familiar with the terminology, that's a 1/4 inch cable with 2 black lines on each end. I've got a wah block here, and the first thing that I need to do is actually just tie this pedal to the wah itself. So I'm going to go to the control parameter and right-click it, which opens up my modifier screen. For the source, I'm going to select FC1, pedal 1, because that's the jack that I plugged my expression pedal into. Now, if you're on an FM9 or an FM3, or even an Axe-Fx 3 without an FC controller, you could pick the pedal 1 or pedal 2, depending on where you have your expression pedal plugged in. And now, moving the pedal back and forth will actuate the wah. But without a switch on the pedal, how are we supposed to turn the wah pedal on and off? Well, I'm not going to, in a live environment or otherwise, hit the spacebar or double-click the block to bypass it or engage it. And that's where Auto Engage comes in. You'll see that when I click on the Auto Engage window, I'm presented with 6 options: slow, medium, and fast position, and slow, medium, and fast speed. I also have the off value parameter here, which I will leave at its default of 5%, and we'll talk about in a minute. Let's first talk about position. When you select a position-based auto-engage setting, you're telling the pedal, I only want you to turn on if I physically move the pedal past the 10% mark. So you could move it past 10% immediately, so that's, 0 to 100. Or if I could manage to move it to 10% over the course of a minute, if I had that much control over my fingers, it could take me a minute to get to 10%. It wouldn't matter when or how quickly I did it, just the fact that I passed the 10% mark would turn on the pedal. You can then wah-wah away to your heart's content until you go below 5% for enough time, and then the pedal will turn off. How quickly the pedal turns off once you do pass 5% is determined by the fast, medium, and slow settings. So let's say you're rocking along on a funk tune and you're going waka 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 waka. When you get to the very bottom, you don't want the effect to turn off too quickly. In this case, you might use the slow speed so that it takes a little longer for the pedal to turn off once you get to the bottom, and you have a little more leeway. Or you may be using the pedal in an extreme solo that needs to then very quickly return in a high-paced, fast song to a rhythm tone that doesn't have a wah on it. In that case, you might choose fast position so that very quickly, almost immediately after you reduce the pedal below 5%, the wah pedal bypasses itself. So in short, when you choose position, you're telling the pedal, I want you to turn on anytime you're above 10%, and then I want you to start thinking about turning off anytime you're below 5%. And the speed at which you make the decision to turn off will be determined by fast, medium, or slow. But let's consider one potential drawback of a position-based auto-engage setting. And this brings me to the story that happened with my client earlier this week. Let's say you have a loose tread or a droopy pedal and you're on a particularly bass-heavy stage. There's a lot of subs, or maybe even you're just jumping around on a stage that has a lot of give in it. Your wah pedal, if it's loose, might just start slowly dropping down over the course of a song or a couple songs or a section that's particularly sub-heavy and cross that 10% mark when you haven't actually stepped on the pedal, and now your wah pedal's coming on. This is exactly what happened to my client last week when he was playing a show. The wah came on of its own accord. Now, my first advice, especially with the EV1, would be just to tighten the screw right here that actually affects how tight this tread is when it actually moves. And you will find places to tighten the throw of a pedal on almost every other expression pedal. The Mission pedals have an Allen key slot underneath the heel, but I actually prefer to avoid this issue entirely by using a speed-based expression pedal setting. How does that work? Well, if position says anything above 10% means on and anything below 5% means off, speed says if you move this pedal more than 5% of its throw anywhere in its throw path in under 20 milliseconds, I'm going to turn on. So if I move the pedal quickly, the wah turns on immediately. It also means that if my pedal were to droop very slowly, it's not going to turn on because I'm not moving more than 5% in any given 20 millisecond period. So I could actually move this pedal all the way from the heel to the toe very, very slowly, and the wah is never going to turn on. So simply moving the pedal by more than 5%, be it 6% or 0 to 100 in under 20 milliseconds, you are activating the pedal. The off behavior, slow, medium, and fast, respond exactly like in position. Once the pedal drops below 5%, the Axvex starts thinking about how long it should take to turn off the wah effect, and the fast, medium, slow affects that. So let's hear those settings, and again, listen to how the wah kicks on, and then listen to how, when I move it down to the heel position, the 3 different settings affect how quickly the wah is automatically bypassed. So slow position, when I cross 10%, the pedal will turn on. When I come down below 5%, the pedal will take a beat and then turn off. On the opposite end of the spectrum, fast speed, I rapidly move the pedal more than 5% in under 20 milliseconds. I wah around for a minute, and then upon coming down below 5%, it very quickly shuts off. Now for players that are coming from a wah pedal or even an expression pedal with a toe switch and going to a switchless pedal with the heel down, meaning the effect is off, this can be a bit of a fish out of water experience. But I've actually come to vastly prefer this way of doing things, and not just because it only requires one expression pedal jack. I've come to equate heel down, closer to the floor, lower down, with 0 or off. That makes a lot of sense in my mind. But for some players, especially those who again have spent a lot of time with a toe switchable wah, having the expression pedal all the way up might imply off. If you are one of those players, it's very simple to just reverse the auto engage point by moving the off from 5% to 95%. If I keep my heel down, you'll just hear heel down wah pedal tone. But when I move the pedal all the way to the toe, the wah pedal will start to disengage based on the speed setting that I have, in this case, medium. I hope this video has cleared up the differences between these various settings and has given you an idea of what setting is appropriate in what scenario. My preferred setting for almost every environment is medium speed. I tend to use that whatever I'm playing. But you'll need to spend some time with these different settings to see what's appropriate for your style of playing and also what's appropriate for various different songs. And the beauty of being in the Fractal world is that we can have different wah pedals for different songs, or even different wahs with different behavior in different parts of songs. And of course, I have been using the EV1 and Auto Engage here to turn on and control a wah pedal, but you could apply this exact same Auto Engage technique to any number of blocks in the Fractal units. I've used it with the formant block, for example. You could also turn on and actuate a manual flanger or phaser. The possibilities are literally endless. the limits are only your imagination. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to G66's channel, and leave me a comment in the comment section below letting me know what you would like to see on a future Fractal Friday. We have some very special artist tone tours coming up soon for you that I'm very excited about, so do stay tuned for those. And as always, if you guys want to get the absolute most out of your Fractal Audio Systems unit, whether that's the Axe-Fx 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. For all things Fractal Audio, keep it right here on G66, and I will see you guys very soon on Fractal Friday.